Welcome to Built to Work, the podcast that gets its hands dirty, dives into the grit, and uncovers the heart of what makes the blue-collar world tick. I'm Colin, your host, and I'm sitting down with the people who keep our world running. From those tackling the tough jobs no one else dares to do, to the HR professionals working overtime to find the labor force we desperately need. Whether you're in the trenches or behind the scenes, this podcast is for anyone who values hard work, determination, and stories that build the backbone of our workforce. So grab your gloves, your coffee, or your clipboard. It's time to get to work. Welcome to another Built to Work podcast. I am here today with Brett Ekart, the man, the myth, the legend. Brett, thanks for being here with me today, dude.
I was about to say you're the man, the myth, the legend. I've been enjoying the podcast, man. Actually sitting down with people that actually do the thing. They're out there doing the work, and so my ass sits at a desk anymore than I used to. So,
Yeah.
thank you for doing what you guys do.
No, absolutely. Listen, I think at the end of the day, we both know that we've become keyboard warriors, desk jockeys, and a lot of the guys out there doing the real work out there, sweating, getting it dirty, and we're just
Yeah.
glad to have them on our team.
Yeah, it takes a team, man. It
Yeah,
takes a team of it's like we're just talking about football and talking about sports. Like, I mean, you got to have the players, you got to have the trainers, you got to have the coaches, you got to have the GM, you got to have I
yeah.
mean, it takes all of that to make like a football team. And work and doing what we're doing ain't no different.
No, it's not. It's amazing when you really look at like how much you need on your team, like from a corporate and just throughout the whole company to actually execute the work, right? I mean, start thinking, okay, you got the back office people, accounting, HR, payroll, all that sort of jazz. You got people out there getting work. You got people out there executing the work just from an operations and sales, and then you've got the actual people doing the work out in the field, right? Whether it's cutting the scrap, picking, driving a truck, you know, weighing people in and
Yeah.
out, like whatever it is, there's a lot of people out there doing a lot of the work as well.
One thing I've really, um trying to impress upon people now, and we're gonna talk about at the Scrap Expo in a couple weeks, is there's so many quality third party companies out there right now that you can use to do things. And it really is it's the growth hack that people are looking for when they're trying to scale a business,
Hmm.
even in like in not necessarily in busy times, because I think that's when everybody's trying to do it. But when you're trying to scale a business in more challenging markets like today, if you can not be fully committed to a piece of equipment, not be fully committed to an accountant, 365 days a year, not be fully committed to a torch crew or to a labor crew, and just say, hey, like, I think I'm going to need this position for a month or
Hmm.
two or five, and go out there and look for that. Like, go look for a fractional marketing company, a fractional CFO, and say, yeah, I don't want to spend, 10, 20 grand, for a full-time marketing person, but I can spend X amount and get what I need for my business to grow and flex into that position maybe someday or maybe not,
Yeah.
but it allows you that growth. It's like that middle stage,
Hmm.
going from like single A, double A, triple A, the majors,
Yeah.
right? It's like you got to take those steps. You don't just go straight to the majors. I think you got to like find those hacks. And um, I, I just, it's something I've been kind of trying to tell people, you don't have to go all the way from A to Z. Like there's
Yeah.
a lot of letters in between that you can go to. And
Yeah.
I know that's what you guys have done for us.
No, absolutely. It's been great. And actually vice versa as well. And, we see that sometimes people, it's like they need the fractional steps, but then too, it's like they're larger, right? They've got a couple hundred employees or they got tons of yards. And they're like, listen, this portion is just giving me trouble. So then they outsource just that portion and say, hey,
Yeah.
this is your problem now. Right. And like you're talking about, like finding those third party vendors, like we're a huge proponent of it, right? We're actually really, really lean on our office side, but we third party out to an accounting firm, right? They handle all of our invoicing, all of our books, all the reporting, all of our taxes. Okay. Then we third party
Hmm.
to a PEO, and that PEO handles all of our payroll, all of our benefits administration, onboarding employees, that sort of thing, right? Okay. Then we sub out to recycled media for a lot of our marketing help, right? Like you guys help all of our marketing,
Hmm.
website, all that sort of stuff. So like we're a big proponent of that internally, and it's allowed us to scale. But the nice thing with it is is that as you scale, if you go to a vendor that it's their specialty, a third party contractor, they've got so much more capacity for doing whatever scope of work it is that if you grow and you need more demand from them, it's no big deal for them to help you out, right? Like
Yeah,
our PEO's got 100 people on staff. So it's like, oh, if we had 50 more people, it doesn't tax them or they can just throw another body onto our account. Same with the accounting
yeah.
firm. They've got like 50, 60 people on their firm. So boom, it's easy for them
No,
to scale.
totally. Yeah, it's because when you're dealing with somebody that scales at their specialty,
Mm-hmm.
you know, like that's what you're looking for. And I think that's where, like, eh, I don't know where, you plan to go with this podcast, but my biggest thing is, like trying to encourage people to grow, to bet on themselves, like
Mm-hmm.
to really, not be afraid to take that next step. But if you are somewhat nervous about hiring that guy or that gal, or there is things you can do out there to like test the role out,
Mm-hmm.
test the position out, and say like, do I really need that? Do I like I think I need it? Will I use that, asset, that person, that piece of equipment, that whatever
Yeah.
at the rate I think I will? Will it really bring the value to my business that I think it will? And I think that there's a lot of options out that for nowadays compared to, what used to be 20 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where technology is going to squeeze the gap
Yeah.
on this deal. It's going to take the small guy and allow him to compete with the medium-sized business, right?
Yeah.
The big guys are always going to have some inherent value. Usually it's finance. They're financed well. They've got great locations. They've been around a long time. Multiple facilities to draw from. So if one's not really doing well, this one's crushing it. They can kind of,
Yeah.
move resources around. But I think where the real advantage is going to be that small guy that can take that's strategic in how they operate their business
Mm-hmm.
can really now compete with that medium-sized company that has had built into having a full-time CFO, full-time C marketing person, a full-time this, and if those guys don't move quick and adjust, like you're gonna have now you're competing with the big guy and the small guy, so you got to be really good to
Mm-hmm.
operate in the middle because the technology's coming.
Yeah, it is. It is. Yeah, having that as a benefit to like leverage and it's huge. It's huge. So I didn't really know where we were going to go with this today, other than hey, I just want to talk to you, Brett. But you brought something up. It's like,
Absolutely.
hey, you love to encourage people to grow, to get better. Like that's a passion of yours. We can see it in the way that you live your life. You post on social media. Like, tell me more about that. Like, why is that such a passion for you, and what are you doing to help facilitate that?
I started small. Like I grew up in a small family business, I I know I always knew I was going to do something within the scrap business,
Mhm.
right? I always knew that. But I also knew I had more to give than just be in the scrap
Yeah.
business, right? So like other businesses intrigued me. Our construction, pipe sales business is intriguing to me,
Mhm.
was intriguing to me very early. The, just looking for opportunities to do other things. And so I knew that the only way I was going to be able to do that was to kind of get the ship right on the scrap side and then allow that to kind of give me the bandwidth or the cash flow resources to look to really push some of the other stuff I was
Mhm.
interested in. But I think my passion comes from just knowing, having been there and done that, like what it took to get there. And it really just takes, someone to keep encouraging you because motivation comes and it goes. But if you always got someone there that's trying to help you and guide you and like push you, I feel like there's like a lot of inherent value. It's like a good coach. Like both you and I played sports,
Mhm.
right? Growing up, and we both played at the collegiate level. You played like a D1 and I played D3. And I don't know that there's a lot of difference in the coaching. It's all intense. It's still a job. Like,
Mhm.
you got guys that are pushing you at that level. And once you've been pushed at that level, like you've been really, just pushed to your breaking point, you then look back and you realize like those were some of my best days. Like
100%.
I'm with all my buddies, like those 2 days that were just fucking miserable, and you thought you were gonna die. But you look back now and you're like, man, what I wouldn't give to be in that locker room for like a week,
Um,
because those are like some of the most fun times. So I kind of remember that. So then I think about like work, and I remember like then we go through these painful growth spurts or these painful time periods where something bad happens. We got to dig our way through it. And then when I look back on, I'm like, man, those were some of the like most fun times with my guys that are like that we're all friends and we all work together.
Yeah.
And so it's like so I want to create more of that, right? So
Yeah.
it's like I can't do it on the I'm not athletic enough to do it anymore. So it's like now I'm like I'm chasing that adrenaline, that teamwork, that fight, that double day grind mentality.
Yeah.
Like I'm chasing that every day at work, and it's only because I'm only chasing it because I can look back on my college and my high school days and remember how fun it was.
Yeah.
And so that's where I think it comes from, if I'm being honest. It's that.
Yeah. No, that's true. It's two things that made me think of. First off, camp, like college football camp, was the best. I mean, everybody's like, "Oh, it
Yeah.
must have been awful." I was like, "No, it was either 2 days with football or it was lifting and then practice." And all I had to do was learn football, lift weights, eat food, and sleep. Like that was my entire life. Like there was nothing. There was 2 weeks of just that, and
Yeah.
it was awesome. Um,
Yeah, and you got guys, I mean, it's people around you are getting hurt.
yeah.
People around you are like that showed up to summer, they came back for summer and they look like they put on 20 pounds and they look like they're in great shape, like they came to play.
Hmm.
So it's like you have guys that took the summer off, it looks like, and gained 20 pounds of fat and didn't do shit.
Yeah.
And it's like you get to see the work that you put in, and then you get to see like as a collective group, like what you can be achieved. And it's like it's just so many life lessons that come from that, and I feel like I'm still chasing that every day with, we now have like our own team of guys and gals here. It's
Yeah.
like I'm still just chasing that win, that double day grind.
Yeah.
And because those are the best times, like you said.
No, those were. And I'm really fortunate that my business partner, Adam, him and I played together. We were both on the line together. We both came into school at the same year, same recruiting class. So we've known each other now. Well, actually, it's 20 years this month is how long we've known each other. And so I'm really fortunate. It's like I still got one of my teammates with me that I get to do this with. And having gone through those highs and lows playing sports, it's like there are some days here where we are just getting kicked in the nuts, and you're like, oh, it's a season, right? And you're like, oh man, like I don't know how we're gonna pull out from this or how this is gonna get better.
Yeah.
But it's like we've gone through these obstacles together before. We've overcome these challenges. So just keep pushing, just keep pushing, just keep pushing. And then it's like, okay, we finally got through, right? Like we did what we needed to do to
Yeah.
break through.
Well, it goes. So it's so funny you say that. So Tom Neal is a guy that I played college football with. We both are for Idaho kids from different parts of the state.
Mhm.
We both ended up at Eastern as true freshmen together. Both played middle linebacker, and we were our dorm room was right next to each other. So he was 309, I was 308, or something
Nice.
like that. And so we became best friends in college, and. Um, long story short, like, after I was kind of recruiting him like through college, like, hey, I'm gonna go home, I'm gonna go to work, family business, like I gotta go figure it out. And I said, you should really come. Like, and then he ended up meeting a girl and getting married, and then a couple years later ended up saying, is that job still available? I was like, yeah, man, like come back. And he did. He ended up coming back, and he's still to this day, he works with us and he handles all of our HR, all of our insurance, all, plus a bunch of other stuff. But it's so awesome to have guys like that you've been in the trenches with, like
Yeah.
literally in the middle of a shit sandwich, and you're like, oh man. And you can look back on some of those stories and the crazy times you had, but it reminds you of like, yeah, like this is hard, that was hard, but we survived and we're still here and we just kind of, you know, got through it.
Yeah.
So that's funny you say that because I'm in that similar
Yeah.
position.
Yeah. No, Adam's awesome. Quick football story if I can take a side. Um,
Yeah, let's do it.
so it was just practice. There was one defensive lineman that nobody really liked, always running his mouth, and I typically didn't face him, but I switched sides for that practice because I think that guy was hurt. This is like my junior year. My hand slipped up in the play. I knocked his helmet off on accident, and
Uh-huh.
he took that as a personal affront. So he started punching at me, like hitting my face mask. But I'm fully geared up, face mask, mouthpiece. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, it's whatever. So I he didn't have a face mask on, so I returned the favor. And he
Yeah.
immediately started going after me. And I'll tell you what, the first person that was in there to like knock him off of me and then start going after him was Adam. And, and I was like, dude, what happened? And then Adam had a face mask on and his helmet on, and he hit Adam. So then Adam starts going after him. He's like, that's my boy. Uh,
Yeah, I love
yeah. So
it.
I was like, that guy's got my back. And then, yeah, I was a bouncer in college too. So,
So was I. Yeah, I know
all
that
big linemen
feeling.
should
Yeah.
be, but there was, definitely points where I had to clean some people out, clean out the bar a little bit. And, Adam
Uh-huh.
would be there as a patron. And I look around and he's just standing there behind me like this, like making sure somebody's buddies didn't kind of hit me in the back of the head or something like that. And I was like, yeah,
Yeah.
like we got each other's backs there as linemen. So it's a great
Yeah,
feeling.
it's part of like the camaraderie,
Yeah.
like the teamwork, right? And I think you're some of your best. I mean, there's so many leadership styles, right?
Yeah.
Like some want to lead from the front, they're alphas, they want to be the guy and they want you to know they're the guy, right? And there's other guys like that played sports and understand how that works and like kind of the dynamics of it, and they kind of want to lead with like a team first attitude. And I'm not saying one way is better than the other. I just know which way I'm the most comfortable with,
Mhm.
right? Because that's where I came from. So that's what I like to do. And so going back to like I'm an encourager. Like I that's why I like coaching and whatever else. Like I like to encourage people to push themselves a little farther than maybe they thought they were capable
Yeah.
of, right? And I think that's maybe more of a coaching type mentality of
Mhm.
like, hey, like you're capable of building that business. You just got to be willing to take the risk
Yeah.
like you, but you're fully capable, just like I was fully capable. I just needed kind of some people to nudge me along or help me do it so I felt confident I could go buy that building or do this and fix it because I had enough good people around me that I knew we could get it done. And
Yeah.
so I think that's why I'm that way, is because I know that it's worked for me, and so I'm like, hey, I guess I'm evangelical when it comes to that part of it, is like, hey, go do, go. I'm telling you, you might make some mistakes, but you're not gonna, they're not gonna take your birthday away.
That's true. That's true. No, I love that. I love that you're an encourager. When I would look at that for me, I say I do want to encourage my team as well, but I feel like I'm a builder. Like I want to build something. I want to build a system. I want to build a process. I want to build a team so that we can build a business. And you know, sometimes you're surrounded by great teammates that can help you build and execute that. And sometimes the challenge is leading them right. Right? How do you correctly lead somebody? And you might not always know, but you got to figure out how do you coach them up? How do you encourage them so you're not just breaking them down and beating them all the time? Because
Yeah.
you and I were talking, we both coached as well as played, and if you just hammer on somebody the whole time, you're just going to break their spirit, and you're not going to get anything out of them.
Yeah, somebody just turned me on this book and they're like, I can't believe you haven't read that. Um, but it's called How to Win Friends and Influence People, and
Wow,
it's like by Andrew Carnegie.
can't believe you haven't read
And
that
so I've
one.
been No, and people are like, how can you have not read that book? And I was like, well, I didn't even know it. It's like it was written in like 1939 or
Yeah,
something. Like it was written a long
old
time
one.
ago, right? And so I've been reading it, part of doing like my latest round of 75
Hmm.
hard. And I was like, and I love it. Like, there's a lot of just like, I'm so now my boys, they're always trying to like, I got a 12-year-old and a 15-year-old. My 15-year-old I bring down here and I have him work in the recycling center.
Yeah.
And it's really good for him. And then my 12-year-old, like he's about that age where now I can start bringing him down here maybe this next summer because
Hmm.
he's in sixth grade now.
Yeah.
So I kind of want him to be around seventh-ish grade before I put him with the general public.
Fair.
Um, you know, handling cans and doing whatever. So long story short, he's like always wanting to find ways to make money and do this. And I was like, I'm gonna pay you to read this book, right? And he's like, how much? And I said, I don't know yet. I said, but when I'm done with it, I'm going to pay you, a buck a page or 50 cents a page or something. I don't know.
Hmm.
I said, but you got to read it, write a report. You can't chat GPT the fucking Cliff Notes version.
Yeah.
Like you got to like read the book. You got to underline it, figure out like what makes sense because there's so many good just life lessons and like how to treat people and how to deal with people in it.
Hmm.
I've really enjoyed it. I'm surprised I haven't discovered it up until now. But I've now I've just been telling everybody, I'm like, you gotta read this book, you gotta read this book. People are like, oh, I read that book a long time ago.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Reread it.
well, read it again. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
it's good. It's really good. So,
Yeah. No,
but
that's a good one. It's a classic. I probably do need to reread it. It's been a long time. I do a lot of Audible, so I don't always get the
yeah,
physical book, but like I'm driving, I know you drive around a lot. I've got like a 35 minute drive, in and out of the office every day. So I'm always Audible or, go exercise on the bike or when I'm lifting weights or something like that. It's like just put on a book and go.
no, po books and podcasts are like
Yeah.
my jam. Like I'll listen to books, I'll listen to podcasts, a lot of podcasts, just because there's a lot of good information out there, and it kind of I'm not committed to like a 15-hour book,
Yeah.
Um, but on my walks lately is when I've been listening to books, just
Mhm.
because it's like I gotta kill an hour. Like, all right,
Yeah.
so I've been listening to Illusions of. It's like the history of vaccines, like where vaccines came from
Dissolving
and
illusions.
dissolving illusions.
Yeah,
That's
I just
exactly what
finished
it
that one
is.
last couple
Yeah.
months.
Yeah. I listened to that Aaron Rodgers podcast on Joe Rogan, and he was talking
Yeah.
about it. And that's where I picked it up and I wrote it down when he was talking
Mhm.
about it. I was, oh, I'm listening to that book one of these days. And what an interesting dude.
Dude.
It kind of make I don't know whether to be mad or sad or like I'm like that's another one I tell people. I'm like, go read it. Like it's worth listening to where this
Mhm.
shit comes from, it's worth a listen.
Don't get me going down that rabbit hole. Or people are definitely gonna.
I won't do that to you. But I do say go make your own
Yeah.
opinion, right? Like I'm a big proponent of do the
Yeah.
research. Like make your own like it goes back to like even leadership. There's a lot of ways to lead. I'm not saying which way is the best. I'm saying which way works for me might not work for you or
Mhm.
vice versa. But I also think there's a lot of like ways to think about things, and I think you should go do your own research before you just buy into what Joe Blow says.
Yeah.
And if maybe you go look at what Johnny says and Joe says and Bill says, and then you now can make an informed opinion about how you want to live your life or how you want to think about things.
Yeah. No, I think you're spot on with a lot of that. There's so many people out there that are scared to continue to learn and educate. They just take what they hear at face value. So when you talk about leadership styles, one that I try to emulate. I don't know that I always do it well, but it's definitely a goal is servant leadership, right? That's a very
Hmm.
biblical leadership style, and
Yeah.
there's so much benefit to that, so much that can be gained from leading in that way that people will execute well. You're taking care of other people. You're showing them you care, and then they'll reciprocate with that loyalty.
So what's your definition when you say servant leadership? Like describe when you think about it, like what does that mean
Yeah.
to you?
Well, I mean, so first, servant leadership, from what I've learned is based on Jesus in the Bible and the way that
Hmm.
he led. So, that is, putting others ahead of yourself and taking care of them. And so if I'm going to put it in like a business context, I'm going to say, okay, I'm the boss. The people that work below me are effectively my customers, right? So, how can I take care of my customers below me? How can I serve them so that they can succeed and do well? Because if I can take
Hmm.
care of them and then they can succeed, they can then interface with our customers, our actual customers, and do the same thing. Because if my internal customers, which was my team, have everything that they need to succeed, then there's nothing inhibiting them from being able to serve our customers to the highest level possible.
Makes
No,
sense.
when we
I
when we bought this company, people were like, "Hey, this is a real struggle. This communication's a struggle, right?" Like, it's a small one, but it was like, "Hey, our
Mhm.
supply orders, right? Like, if we need to get new torches, new PPE, like there is a breakdown on something, like it'll take 30 days just to get it from like, hey, we need this to it's getting ordered, right? And so I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
I hear my team's having a problem, my own internal team. I built a system to now where it goes from order submitted, like the guy that like says internally, hey, I need this order, to order placed is less than 48 hours,
Okay.
right? Because
Yeah.
the guy out in the field's not the guy ordering it. He's saying, hey, I'm see this problem. I'll send it back to the office for them to order the supplies. So as simple as that, right? I'm serving my internal customer. I'm getting them what they need. I'm making
I
them feel important.
I think your job or your role evolves as your company, grows,
Yeah.
right? And I think when you're at the very beginning, I tell people you're very hands-on with all the things that you do. You can operate the crane, the material handler, you can drive the loader. Some you just I never had got my CDL, but sometimes you got to drive the truck.
Mhm.
I mean, there's just a lot of different things. But as you grow and as you grow more roles in your business, you grow more avenues of growth and different positions that are needed to keep growing. I've always said, like, and I think it probably like falls in line with servant leadership is my role is I always say I'm the chief obstacle remover. Like
Yeah.
my goal is just to get shit out of your way so you can do your job better, right? Like, what do you need? You need a better, quicker material handler. You need, another one so you can have one guy doing this. You need this much more space. So it's like then you got to decide, like, A, what you can afford, what makes sense, what you can kind of, finagle here or do there, or maybe this person isn't the right for that role, and I'm going to, give you some help from here. But it's like your job, like you become like you're just out there trying to clear the way.
Hmm.
Like I don't necessarily do the task anymore. I'm just saying, what do you need to be successful? And I'll tell you what kind of what version of that I can do for you, right?
Yeah.
I can maybe like do this, or I can do this, or there's nothing I can do right now. My hands are tied.
Yeah.
But I always feel like that's your job anymore as a builder is you're just trying to remove people's obstacles. And then the other job is to see the vision like 5 years from today, 3 years from today, 1 year from today, where you're trying to get to. So you can kind of give people the direction to go. Say, this is where I'm trying to get to. Now, what do you need to get there? And then I'm gonna start getting clear in the brush.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. It's interesting to look at that. Talking about that business growth, right? Yeah, you used to be able to go out there and you were operating the crane, material handlers, whatever equipment you guys have out there. And when I had my last business, it was a startup. It was from zero, right? So I could do it all, right? I was out there,
Yeah,
it's property management, right? I was out there walking properties. I was taking photos for listings. I was going to court for evictions. I was out there like moving people in and doing all that sort of stuff. Well, as it progresses, you get more and more removed from some of those daily activities. What's been
yeah,
interesting for me is buying this company into this industry, right? Like I never grew up running a torch, right? I didn't start this
yeah,
company from zero and have to be out there doing the torching and kitting out the PPE for the first, number of employees and stuff like that. So it's been kind of interesting coming in and being like, okay, so this is what we're doing. This is what we need. Okay, how can I continue to grow and support you guys, even though I haven't done that, right? And maybe when you've started one of your businesses or added a service line on, you're like, hey, you don't have your CDL, right? You're like,
yeah,
I understand what trucks do and how they're valuable and
yep,
how we can leverage them for money. I can't help you because you blew a water pump, right? Like I can't tell you how
yeah,
to change it on the side of the road. I can call a tow truck, right?
yeah, yeah, 100%.
So
And you can kind of develop some sort of like I don't know what the best word for it, but like almost like an imposter
yeah.
syndrome, right? Where like I've never had a CDL. Like I can drive a truck,
Hmm.
but I've never driven one like delivered a load or anything like that.
Yeah.
And I'm not a great mechanic, so I can't fix a water pump or a tranny or, a wheel seal or whatever. I'm sure I could be taught, but
Yeah.
I've never done it. So you are kind of like when you don't know the ins and outs of it, then it goes like you probably have to lean more into your servant leadership, or you have to lean more into your obstacle remover leadership style and say, okay, like I don't know the battle you're fighting. I need you to better explain to me the battle you're fighting so I can do what I know how to do, which is, flex vendor relationships, whatever else I need to do to kind of get you in a position where but it takes a little more like humbling, and I think it's a little more like you got to take your ego, way back or not, make it non-existent because you just don't know what the truck driver knows, right?
Yeah.
You may know the business aspects of it, to run a trucking company, like say I do. But I don't know what it's like to drive a truck,
Yeah.
just like in your standpoint, I could see where you kind of have to like almost humble yourself, get yourself back to a point of like, okay, I don't know what it's like to run a cutting torch all day,
Mhm.
but I know that's a hard job. I know that a lot of people need that job.
Yeah.
They need that in their yard. So what can I do to find guys that can do that and then support them so then I can build the business on the backside of it,
Yeah.
right?
Absolutely.
And So I could see that being a challenging piece, but it's probably like a great, because I feel like if you can do that, if you can build this business that you and your partner have bought and you're building to this day, then it kind of gives you, it's like doing something really hard in life. Like
Yeah.
once you've done it, you're like, oh, I could do that. You've done, once you do that, it probably opens up your like down the road, if you end up deciding you want to do something different, like you kind of pivoted from property management to this, it like makes you, like gives you a level of confidence that not a lot of people are going to have, because you'll be like, yeah, I know exactly what it's going to take to learn something from scratch,
Yeah.
make it work and build it, you know? And that's a skill that I don't think a lot of people have.
Yeah, yeah, it's definitely something where you have to be good at overcoming obstacles and that persistence. And I'll tell you, it took us a year to really feel comfortable talking about our business. Right? It's like we bought it, and then like
Yeah.
2.5 months later, we're going to consumer nights, and people are like, "What do you do?" And I'm like, "We do stuff in scrap yards." Right? Right? Like now,
Uh-huh.
that was what
Yeah,
it is.
yeah,
It's like, okay, yeah, we do torture, and we do labor. Okay, and then ask a few questions. They kind of go on, and now it's like, okay, now you ask me, hey, Colin, what do you do? All right, we own a scrap services company, and really, what we do at the end of the day is we solve your problems in scrap yards that you're having. Right? Like, we're
yeah,
not just a labor provider, right? We're not just a temp service labor provider. We're more than that, right? We recruit specialized people, specialized knowledge, specialized skills into your yard, right? And what does that mean? What does
yeah,
that look like? And I think go on and on. And it's not just like, yeah, we do labor, because then it's like, oh,
yeah,
you're not this. It's just just understanding. Like it took us a year at least to really feel confident in understanding what we did as a business and get our minds wrapped around it, and then to start pursuing growth within the business. But yeah, now it's like, okay, I totally changed industries, right? First off, I didn't know anything about property management. I started that business from zero, so I at least learned it on the way up, right? I wasn't born into real estate. I just started buying.
yeah,
I started buying real estate, and I was like, this will solve my own problem because then I'll be able to hire someone to manage my properties, which I'm tired of doing. Boom, it blew up into
yeah.
a very large property management company. So then I got this one. So it's like, okay, maybe this company is just gets up and running, and we've got all these CEOs and COOs and stuff. And it's like, man, let's go buy another company, a totally different, unrelated industry, right? Like bottled
Yeah.
water. I don't know. But it's like, okay, now I can go over there and I can learn this industry as well. So I'm not scared to jump into that.
So you gotta give yourself credit for that. That's not like an easy, I don't know that a lot of people would be willing to do that. Like, and I think, you know, that's why I encourage people to do things is like you don't really know what you're capable of if you just, but if you're willing to try and you're willing to check your ego at the door and you're willing to learn, I mean,
Hmm.
there's a lot of things you can do. I mean, to build a property management company from scratch, right? And to do this, I mean, you got to give yourself and your partner some credit and say, yeah, I mean, we're pretty capable people, We're running a pretty capable business, which I say the reason that that's important is when you're dealing with other business owners, like that's why I'm like I've always been one like with you. I'm like tell your story, like
Yeah,
tell because I think the importance of that is you're telling people like I may not know what your problem is, but I'm gonna figure it out because I figure out like my specialty and our company's specialty is we figure problems
yeah,
out. I mean we don't know about and we solve it and we figure out how to make it work, right?
yeah,
And I think that's like your superpower. Like that's your strength is you know how to take something you don't know a lot about and figure it out, right?
yeah,
And as a business, like if that's the value you're providing, is say I walk into your shredder and you need pickers and I don't know what they're picking and I don't know that job. I mean, you do now, but at
yeah,
the beginning you didn't,
yeah,
right? And say that's what you need. I'll figure out how to get the people to do that and we'll do it,
yeah,
right? And that's what you're really looking for with a business partner or business relationship. I mean, maybe not partners on the financial sense, but you're
mhm,
partners because you're doing business together. And you're just looking for someone that's willing to go down the road with you and help you solve the problem because that's all we are as business owners, we're just problem solvers. We're just trying to solve problems every day and make them the least painful as possible and create the most opportunity throughout the process.
yeah,
And so if you got a vendor or someone you're doing business with that aligns with you, that's good at that, like you're gonna win. You're
absolutely,
gonna find ways to win together.
absolutely, yeah. And it's great when those relationships can happen as well. One other thing that I like to encourage you to think about growing your team is how can your team internally help grow the company, right? Like we recently hired somebody on our team. Ryan Nolte used to be the a safety outreach guy for Rima Isri, and he's here
Okay.
in Indy, and that's where we're headquartered. And he knew someone on our in our company. They've been friends, and he said, "Hey, like this position's not going to exist anymore. Like, what can we do?" It's like, "Hey, Ryan, come on to our team." So now he's our safety director, right? And it's like, this
Yeah.
is great. But then he had this idea. He's like, well, hey, I could offer, safety consulting, training for equipment because I've done that at other companies because he used to do that when he worked in yards, right? He grew up in a bunch of yards that you probably know around the Indianapolis area, Indiana area.
Hmm.
So now we've secured our first contract doing that for another company, right? We're doing daily training, like
Yeah.
day rate training, right? He's going to go out there for 2 days. He's going to train them on pieces of equipment and do safety orientations for them, right? So it's like, there we go. We solved a problem for another company, but we encourage one of our teammates, like, hey, if you've got an idea, you can make some money. We'll take care of you. You take care of us. So
Yeah. Well, it brings, I mean, and it allows them some flexibility in like their day-to-day activities too, right?
yeah,
And it allows them to bring some more value to the table for the business.
hmm
Because I mean, we are one of our pipe sales guys that helped me build that pipe business. His name is Joe Ross, and Joe Ross is damn good at what he does. And Joe Ross has always lived by the mentality is if you make the boss more money, then you'll make more money. He's like, you want to, I mean, if you got a good one, if you got a good
yeah,
boss, you got a good owner, if you make him more money, you'll make more money. And so he's like, I'm just out here selling pipe, boss. I mean, he's like, and that he's a salesman and
yeah,
he's good at what his job, but he's like, and he's done really well for himself, right? Because I recognize he has the ability to do his job really well and he's made us money, and I'd like to think he's made money. But there's it's no different if you give the guys on your team the opportunity to do more and to make the business more valuable, then if you're an owner worth your weight in salt, you're gonna take care of those guys,
yeah,
right? And it allows them some flexibility in like their day to day and their position and not the same old, Groundhog Day every single day. But it goes back to like what I think like your guys' superpower is you're solving problems,
yeah,
right? And you're doing it in a way that allows people to flex into those positions. And as a business owner, I know like we're big enough now that Tom, the guy I was telling you that I played college
mhm,
football with, he does a lot of our safety meetings. He directs them, he coordinates them. Because if you're OSHA and you know like what your requirements are, even from an insurance standpoint, like, hey, we need to address these concerns. We need to make sure our guys are trained on PPE and electrical, whatever it is, like whatever your business is. But you got to have all the safety I's dotted and T's crossed and whatever else.
yeah,
So if you can third party that, it's no different than getting an outside company to do your VIN DOT inspections,
yeah,
right? For your
absolutely.
equipment. Say, yeah, I want to get these all done. I don't, my shop guys are busy. I don't want to take away their time, from working on a piece of equipment I need. I just get somebody just to do the inspections. I think the third party, safety training, because it allows it keeps you're investing in your people,
Yeah,
trying to keep them safe, but B, you're also checking those boxes for your insurance company, for your government. What would it be like? Depends on OSHA or
yeah,
everybody's got different DEQ over here for us,
okay,
DEQ of Idaho. So you're also checking those boxes as well, and not dedicating somebody's time every day to doing that,
yeah,
which maybe only amounts to 10 hours a week,
yeah.
or 20, and then they're doing whatever else the other 20. So
Yeah, exactly. No, it allows for everybody to grow. So
that's great. That's the first time I've heard that
yeah, well, it's something new that we came up
from you
with,
guys.
and
Yeah.
yeah, he's like, I'll go in and I'll train them, and I'll do, have a group of 6 people. I'll do half a day on a skid steer, half a day on a material handler for that group. Next day, I'll do it with another group of guys, right? Because you can only take so many people at a time. But it's 2 days worth of work. We're benefiting our customer because that's something they don't have to worry about doing, taking their safety guys or their trainers' time. It says, hey, just call Premier. They'll do it. It might be a once a month thing, but if we can build that to where we've got 5 customers that need that once a month, that starts to add up.
Yeah.
And he's created a new business
Yeah.
line, and like you've said, he makes the boss more money. Well, he'll make more money. So
Yeah. Well, the other thing I like about that too is guys get tired of hearing each other's voices, right?
Hmm.
Or the same guy gives the same safety meeting,
Yeah.
and it's if you and maybe you do give the other four meetings a month, right? Or
Yeah.
three, and you bring in somebody once a month to just give you a different outlook or a different take. Or I've seen this in these yards over here, and you guys should, take a look at this and pay attention to this,
Yeah.
right? I think there's value in that component of it too. It's just a new voice in the room that maybe knows some things that hadn't been brought up before, or that comes from a different landscape, a different perspective that kind of gives you sheds a little light on something, right?
Yeah.
And so everybody can learn from that.
Yeah. No, that's very true. So, well, Brett, I want to wrap this up. I want to be cognizant of your time. Any one last parting thoughts? Any motivation for us as we go out to conquer the world and bring other people along for the ride?
Yeah, I really like your style, man. You're a problem solver, and I think that it's a learned trait too. Like it's people are capable of doing what you're doing as far as learning something new and building from that, right? And I got a lot of respect from you for that. But I also think that people are more capable than they give themselves credit for on a lot of things, right? So like take the risk, like go try. Like the America needs more fucking builders. We need more doers. We need less people waiting for the government to give them something and people that are willing to go get it. Because there's a reason why so many people are still trying to immigrate to this country. And it's because it's still the fucking best place to build things. Like,
Absolutely.
and it's still the most opportunity. You're never going to go anywhere else in this world that's got more opportunity that stares all of us in the face every single day. And it's almost like the kid who has Christmas once a week. Like you don't appreciate it,
Yeah.
right? Until you leave, and then you're like, oh man, like that was nice, you know?
Yeah.
So there's a reason why people are trying to come here. It's because the opportunity's out there. So if you're not taking advantage of it, that's on you.
Yeah.
Like,
No.
I mean, I don't feel sorry for you,
All right.
but the ones that are out there, like, I'm just here to encourage you and appreciate, your efforts. So,
Yeah. No, that's great. That's inspiring. So I appreciate it, Brett. I feel like we need to put an American flag and some bald eagle screeches like right when you're talking.
dude, when you come here, when you come back to Idaho, you wait till you see our podcast room. I put a big American flag, a bald eagle,
Nice.
an F-16 jet. Like, I got it all, man. Scrap in the background.
Love it.
I had a local guy come in and like paint a mural, and dude, it's awesome.
That's
It's
great.
awesome. You'll appreciate it.
All right. Well, hey, I appreciate your time today,
All
Brett.
right,
Have a
man.
good one.
Likewise. Appreciate you, sir.